Hi everyone, my name's Nicole, and today I'll be demonstrating how to make a balloon dog animal. This activity is super fun, creative, lighthearted. It's a great way to explore leisure occupations and can support meaningful skill development in occupational therapy. Making a balloon dog may seem like a simple party trick, but it actually incorporates fine motor coordination, bilateral hand use, sequencing, attention, and emotional regulation. So balloon twisting actually dates back to the 1930s when magicians would use it to entertain children. Today, it's often used in therapeutic recreation, especially in pediatric occupational therapy, and even community-based programs to promote engagement, hand function, and confidence. So during this video, I'm going to explain each step, I'm going to discuss the physical and cognitive skills involved, and I'll even demonstrate this activity and how it can be graded or adapted to meet different client needs. I'll also connect it to occupational therapy goals and client factors so you can see the therapeutic reasoning behind it. So before we begin, I want to make sure that we have a clear area. You're going to have a little bit of room because the balloons do get pretty long, I'd say about 3 feet, 4 feet. And also this is going to take some emotional toll on you. I have popped a few practicing. So that's where it comes into play, where you have to regulate yourself. So making sure that also, let's start with the materials. So these are called, they're specifically called 260Q balloons, but they're just regular latex balloons. They're long and they adapt to twisting. So that's why they're a specific balloon type. We have a bunch of colors, so many that you can choose from. So that's kind of fun. You can obviously pick what color you like. Other materials, we need the pump. I have a hand pump. Some also come with like an electric pump. So if you have certain hand deficits, that would be something to look into, getting an electric pump to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to keep pumping. We also have non-latex gloves because these are latex. So in case there's allergies, we're going to want to have these on hand. Also, they do smell like rubber, and the rubber kind of gets on your hands. So if somebody has any sensory issues, doesn't like that smell, I suggest using these. So these are optional. And also a marker in case you want to decorate your dog, put some eyes on it, a mouth at the end, but optional as well. I did make some cards. This is going to be our little picture demonstration, just the key steps, but I'm going to be explaining it in the video as well. And then we just have like a brief history, some fun pictures, and the materials. All right, so let's get started. I have my space right here. I'll try to do my best to show you guys. We have all these colors I can pick from. What are we feeling? I'm wearing a pink shirt. Should we go pink? I have my pink one in here actually. Okay. So this can be performed sitting down. I've noticed that it's a little bit easier to stand up and pump, just so I have like enough room. The pump is a bit pointy, and these, since they're very thin and delicate, I would say, you got to be careful pumping because it will pop. I have learned from experience. So I am going to stand up and pump this. Okay, and you're going to want to roll it on. And at the end, we have to leave like about a fist's length of air, so it'll stay looking like this at the end, and that's for the dog's tail. So, okay. And you're gonna want to pump it pretty fast. Okay, and then we're gonna pull it off. Done with that, and it is pretty long, and you see it's about a fist's length at the end right there. Perfect. Okay, and then we tie the end into a knot. This always takes me a minute. Let's see if I can do it. This is quite challenging. I would say if you don't know how to tie a knot, hand it to somebody, or you can learn real quick how to tie a knot. With anybody with maybe like tremors or anything like that, and doing this in a therapeutic activity in occupational therapy, I would have like the therapist probably tie it for you, or any of your peers or surroundings. So this is gonna be his like face, the dog's face. Okay, and then this end is gonna be his tail. So not much is left. Okay, and looking at my cue card, my steps, Step 2, we're gonna twist probably about 3 inches. This is gonna be his face. So we're gonna do a twist. This is called a basic twist. Okay. And now next we need to do the ears. So it's about another fistful. And you're just twisting it. Doesn't matter which way you go. And just that part. So we are starting at this end with his nose. And then now you're gonna make the ears. So it's gonna be 2 small, about 1 inch. You make them simultaneously, because then you're going to do something called a lock twist. This is just a basic twist. And then a lock twist is when you take 2 basic twists and then you like twist them together and it actually locks together so you can let go. So this one, if I let go, it would just like go like that. But with a lock twist, it would stay. So I'm going to make 1 inch now for my ears. Ooh, that's a little, yeah, that's okay. You can get creative. You can also do however big you want to do. So try to make the ears around the same size. This is kind of hard to do and show because I have to hold them so they don't fall apart. But you're making about 1 inch of each, and it's just a basic twist. And then you're going to wrap the ears together. And then twist, twist, twist. A couple times, I'd say about 4 times. And see? That's going to be his face. His face and his 2 ears. And as you can see, I let go and they didn't fall apart. So it locks. Isn't that pretty cool? Okay. And then we're going to do, I'll do like about 4 fingers. You can get creative with how big you want it. However, you don't want to go too long, because then we won't have enough material at the end for his legs and his tails. So I'll say about that much. That's his neck. So again, just a basic twist. Okay. And then we are on step, if you're following the card, we are on step 4. We're about to be on step 5. We're going to make his front legs. So once you know how to make the front legs, the back legs are the same thing. So here you have the neck. I would say I'm going to do about a good spaced out fingers, maybe about 5 inches. Making sure you're holding to this one. Okay, you're going to do a basic twist, and then this is the fun part. Take this piece and you're folding it, and then you're going to measure. That's where that one is. So again, you're going to twist. You start with a basic twist. This is actually very difficult because you're holding so many things at once. And then we're going to lock twist them. See? Kind of takes a lot of room. You can lock it any way you want as long as they end up locking. There we go. I did about 2 to 3 and I got to let go. See how it locks? And then those are the feet. As you can see, we made 1 and then we folded it up to match the other side. Did a basic twist and then locked it together with the neck. Okay? And then we're going to make the body. Maybe we'll make him like this long. Maybe he's going to be a wiener dog. Again, you can get creative on how long you want certain things. You can make the body longer, the legs shorter. It's all up for your interpretation. Get creative. However, for sake of today and just a basic balloon dog, I'm kind of showing you about the basic measurements that I learned. So yeah, I'd say the body's about maybe 6 inches. Okay, and then again, a basic twist. So we're doing, this is his body. And next we're going to do his back legs, same thing as the front legs. I kind of like to measure it with the front legs, so maybe right there is where we're going to want to twist it. Again, a basic twist. Basic twist, a couple times, fold up. Okay, and then we're going to do another basic twist where his other leg would go. This is where like coordination and especially bilateral and manipulation and grip really come into play, because I'm holding multiple at once so these don't fall apart, and it's rolling another. And now we twist. Now we have a lock twist, and then there is your dog. Sometimes the tail ends up longer. Sometimes, depending on how much you pump it up, like how much pressure is in there, and also how long you make certain things. Things come out longer. Like if you make a longer neck and he's a giraffe, certain things like that, that'll take longer, and more materials. As you can see, this kind of gets smaller as you kind of manipulate the pieces because the air kind of gets pushed around. So having that fistful at first is very important. But here is our balloon dog. And then here is my one I had practiced before. Here you go. See how they sometimes look different? It just kind of depends. But yeah, they're fun. I'm gonna draw a face on mine because I'm feeling fun tonight. Why not? We'll put those are his ears, right? We'll put this is just fun and a creative part of like therapy, especially working with like the pediatric population for this. This would be fun. This would be more of a difficult activity with there's a smile in his eyes, with certain ages, because the risk of like if it pops, the small pieces. Also, it is a lot of like holding things. So if I do recommend, if you are doing this with pediatrics or certain populations that need a little bit more help, that the therapist kind of helps a little bit more. So yeah, those are our 7 steps. I tried to keep it simple and just do 7. Obviously, this is all up for interpretation. Just depends on how big you want certain things. But a typical one has this is about 3 inches, 1 inch for the ears, 4 inches here, maybe like 5 inches for the feet, 5 inches for the body. Again, for the back legs, 5 inches. And the tail is usually kind of like leftover, like however much you have left is kind of what the tail is. So it depends on like the length, but they're all fun, all unique. That's why it's fun. They're all unique, and it just depends on like where you went creative, where you went with a spin on it. Okay, and next, I just kind of want to reflect that if you were watching, you saw I was holding multiple at once. That definitely was fine motor and grip and bilateral use of both hands. That was very big as I was demonstrating. Sensory, I was touching. Proprioception, knowing like where I am and having my space. And just processing the sound of the balloon. As you can hear at certain times, I had to talk a little bit louder because twisting the balloons was loud. So I had to talk over that. Cognitively, sequencing, knowing which steps. You can't start from the tail. You can't do that. Where's my other one? You can't just start from here. You usually have to start over here, especially because you're working kind of down, because the tail should be the last thing you're making. So knowing which steps to take first. Also attention. If you get distracted or something, the balloon will, unravel. So keeping your attention and just working memory. Remembering like the order of the steps, especially. Emotionally, as you can see, there were times where it wasn't twisting for me, and I've learned this and have practiced it multiple times, and I had to sit there and make sure, it's gonna work. Don't worry, Nicole. So just regulating myself and just having confidence when things don't go as planned. There were, of course, my tail is way longer than I expected it to be compared to my other attempt, but that's okay. All of it's unique and up to interpretation. Also, if the balloon pops, it's a great therapeutic learning opportunity, in my opinion. The first time I did it, it actually popped on me, and I was like, what? So we can just discuss like resilience and just like frustration tolerance and like adaptations we can do based on what happens. It's similar to like real life challenges. Things don't always go perfectly in life. We learn and adapt and just adjust to what's thrown at us. For adapting and grading, I have this little note card just for like the quick sketch of it, but to go over more in depth. To grade down, so making the activity a little bit easier. To ensure success, we grade up or down. So grading down would be making it a little bit easier, and grading up would make things a little bit challenging. However, we're doing this based on the client, seeing where they're at, meeting them where they're at, and just kind of seeing their abilities. So yeah, to grade it down, to make it a little bit easier, I would pre-inflate and tie the balloon. As you can see, it took me a second to tie the balloon. I've never been great at that. Just because it is a small, tiny, and delicate balloon, so I don't want to puncture any holes or let go, and then I have to restart by pumping it. Also using color-coded sections or visual cue cards to know where to twist. So I did have a visual cue card, however, this wasn't very specific in the pictures. So to make it a little bit easier, I would have every single little step and every little twist broken down into more steps. Hand over hand therapy assistance, which we recently learned is great for like tactile guidance. So having the client be on the bottom and the therapist kind of guiding them where to twist. That's a great therapy approach. Also allowing for like rest breaks in between, because again, it's kind of, you're using kind of your whole upper extremities, so it can cause fatigue. So just taking breaks and having, like, if they need to take a break in the middle of twisting something, they can hand it over to the therapist or whoever is with them, and they can take care of that while they rest for a second. They actually have larger balloons than this, like thicker, like material. And they also have softer balloons, so those different types of balloons could reduce like the grip strain. So these are just the classic basic BalloonAnimal balloons. So like if you Google balloon animals, this is the material that will pop up. But I researched different types of these balloons that are still like stretchy and can twist, but they're like, some of them are thicker, softer, so different like sensory things can help, so different material. So to make it more challenging, I was thinking about only giving verbal directions, so not physically showing them, not giving them a cue card. That would make it a little bit more challenging. Also having the client complete the balloon dog just from memory. So like maybe we do it once together and then have them do it alone themselves. No verbal cues, no visual cues, and no help from the therapist. Maybe adding a timer to work on like pacing. So like if you set like a 2-minute timer and have them do it within the 2 minutes. Or also I thought it was fun to challenge. So I actually had my brother take a balloon and I took a balloon and we timed and tried to do like a little race, which was super fun. I won, by the way. But that also makes it fun, and it practices pacing and like sequencing very fast. So that was fun. That could be a good challenge. Encouraging them to take multiple animals, or to make multiple animals. So like maybe making this a giraffe, making it longer, or making some sort of other animal and just being creative about it. So like saying what they can create from their own memory, or like working through problem solving of how they could make something else out of just a balloon like this. And maybe also having them learn how to make this and then teach the therapist or teach a peer, a family member. So having them then teach it and being like the person who guides. So adaptations for specific needs. So for low vision, getting very bright balloons for like contrasting. So if we're on a black surface, maybe getting the white balloon. If you're on a darker or on a white surface, maybe getting a darker, brighter color. So just contrasting to adapt to that. For anxiety or sensory sensitivities, warn the person before about the balloon, about the popping, about the twisting, or also you can provide the noise canceling headphones, because as you could see, it's kind of like nails on a chalkboard sometimes. So that sensory component, you can have the headphones to reduce that. For limited hand strength, using like an electric pump or adaptive grips. So like maybe if this is too small, make it a bigger grip. Same with this, make it a bigger grip. Or just having an electric pump where you just press on and then like press off. So those are both adaptability tools we can use. For cognitive limitations, maybe just doing like simplifying it and maybe just having them do the head, or just have them like the therapist does the head and then they just do the leg part. So keeping it simple, maybe just doing one small task, but then once it's complete, they do have this successful, fun balloon dog to be proud of. For a unilateral weakness, maybe stabilizing the balloon with like a non-slip mat. I even saw these mats when I was doing research that were like kind of sticky, almost like a mouse trap. It was interesting, but like when you picked it up, it took a little bit like of pulling, but it would still pick up. But having maybe like setting the balloon down so it would stick, and then if they only had one hand, then trying to use the stickiness to like their advantage. For adaptive equipment, again, we went over the either manual pump or the electric. rubber gloves actually, or something called a dicem, I believe I'm saying that right. It helps with like gripping. It's like sticky almost, not like the mat, like kind of like the mat, but like glove wise. So that would help if they have trouble like with grip strength. Weighted wrist cuffs for tremors. I feel like that's pretty common for any activity with tremors, but again, that would be successful for this one as well. Just to like weight their hands down, maybe so they can also use the table for stability, like use your environment as well as other tools for adapting. Also, if they want to stand up, maybe a non-slip mat on the floor, like a non-slip mat here, maybe to put their fingers or hands or wrists down. But all those would be good adaptive equipment use. So just reflecting on like the OTPF framework, this activity addresses many client factors, specifically the neuromuscular skeletal functions, sensory processing, specific mental functions like attention and problem solving. As you can see, I had to definitely problem solve myself a couple times. So you are going to use those most definitely. It also develops performance skills such as gripping and manipulation, which is going to be the motor processing skills. Sequencing and attention is going to be the process skills. Expressing and engaging will be the social interaction piece. So this is actually a fun one to do with friends. I learned this through a YouTube video. However, I feel like that would have been a little bit easier if I had somebody next to me and interacting and kind of laughing through the process with me a little bit. So socially, this is a very fun activity. Also, it is used at like birthday parties, and magicians would use it. So it is very social. Fairs, all the things. I actually first found out about balloon animals or balloon dogs at TGI Fridays when I went for dinner with my family. We would always have this guy would like walk around. He would just keep making these balloon animals for like the kids, and I thought that was so fun. So it is very social. Pediatric clients, clinically this would be used like with pediatric clients because it is fun and like whimsical, so kids would definitely like this. Adults post-stroke or with like upper extremity injuries, this would be a great activity to like rebuild that strength and coordination. You're really using your coordination for this. Clients with mental health goals to promote relaxation and focus, this would be great as well for them. It's not necessarily the most relaxing in the process, but it is very keen on focus. Like you have to focus on holding these and twisting at the same time. So it also requires problem solving in case like, oh, this falls off, I gotta twist this one. I would also use this with like a community group setting, like I'm about to do with my class. I'm gonna show them in a group setting, so it's gonna be fun, and instead of it just being one-on-one, you have like your peers and other people your age potentially laughing through the process and having fun with you. But yeah, overall, we emphasize like doing, being, becoming, and belonging. This craft captures all four actually. You're doing the activity, and you're being creative, you're becoming confident, and you're belonging through this shared enjoyment. So let me just have my notes up. Just making sure I covered all my bases. Yeah, bilateral, problem solving and sequencing are big. Attention and task persistence. I really like that one because that kind of goes along with attention as well as the emotional regulation. As you could see, I was getting I don't know if I didn't show it. I'll have to watch this video back, but I definitely was getting frustrated, and it takes quite a bit of time. I think I had a hard time teaching this while talking while doing something, because I'm trying to focus and hold things, but I'm also like, oh wait, I need to teach somebody else. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult in that sense as well. So your attention is like solely, what is it called? Flow state. I'm like in the flow state when I'm doing this, especially when I was learning without the camera. I was in the flow state and I was getting it, and it's coming together. It is fairly short. Like when I was learning this, I learned it pretty quickly. It takes maybe at the most 5 to 10 minutes, but I feel like people who pick things up pretty quickly, this could take like 1 to 2 minutes. Like it's pretty quick and easy and fun, and it's creative. Like you can customize, I feel like, any of this But yeah, social participation is huge in this. I feel like anytime I've seen balloon animals, it's been in a group or community setting. Again, I mentioned the TGI Fridays, fairs. Anytime I'd go to like a country fest, that would always be there. Birthday parties as a kid, I would always see these. Magicians. I've actually never seen a magician, like a show or anything with that, but when I was researching the history about balloon animals, it said that magicians and clowns were the first people to ever use them, which I thought was very fun and interesting that magicians use them. So yeah, making sure I covered everything. Okay. Well, awesome. Here is my balloon dog, 2 balloon dogs. Customize them. I also think a very fun part of this is choosing what color you want. So when you have certain injuries or deficits and something traumatic just happened to you and you can't control certain things in your life, like you can't control using the restroom or certain things like that, this is something fun where you get to choose. So I do like that aspect of it where it is very client-centered, like do this task, but you get to pick. So that's also good with kids, because kids tend to have parents guiding them for most things, but this is something that's very like specific and meaningful to them. Just picking a color. It's the small things in life. Yeah, thank you for watching my demonstration on how to make a balloon dog animal. I hope this showed you how a playful, inexpensive, this whole entire bag and the pump as well was, I believe, $10. And then if you add the optional marker and the gloves, this was like another $7. So under $20 for this fun, inexpensive activity. And it's something you can do at home. You can do it in any setting. It's very it's very light. You can travel with it. And it's also creative and can hold a deep therapeutic value. So through this just single activity, we can address fine motor coordination, sequencing, endurance, frustration tolerance, and social participation. In OT, it's not just about the product of something, it's about the process. The engagement, the learning, and the sense of like accomplishment all contribute to the client's well-being and occupational identity. So thank you for joining me. I hope you feel inspired to then participate in this activity. It's super fun and creative, and it's very meaningful. And I think this is going to be my new fun occupation, is trying to learn different balloon animals. This was just one animal in the whole realm that we can learn. So thank you. I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you. Bye.